Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The Bahamas' Prime Minister says no to NIB increases. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 18th April 2022. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Philip Davis, is engaged in damage control as a result of an announcement that the National Insurance Board, NIB, considers a rate increase, which sparked much public debate. More in this ZNS News item.
You see, many Bahamians rely on the social safety net for their livelihood, more so in their latter years. And Prime Minister Davis understands their plight, particularly in the face of increasing prices. Our Desmond Saunders joins us live from the National Insurance Board's Blue Hill Road headquarters for more details on the Prime Minister's response. Good evening, Desmond.
Well, you're right, Makushla. I'm standing live here at the NIB headquarters on Blue Hill Road. Early today, Prime Minister said no to new NIB increases.
I know what the Bahamian people are experiencing. These are difficult times, and it will be a last resort for me to put any more burden on their backs.
The nation's chief dismissing any proposals of new increases to national insurance contributions at this time. Early this week, the Minister of State responsible for the National Insurance Board, the Honorable Miles LaRuta, highlighted an International Labor Organization report projecting the NIB fund could be insolvent by 2028 if urgent action is not taken.
The actuaries over the last 10, 15 years have been predicting that the fund is jeopardized because of us not having raised the contributions to NIB. Recommendations were being made from 2003-04 that we should raise the contributions. Yes, we are at that watershed moment, but I am not going to, at this time, put any further burden on the Bahamian people.
Prime Minister Davis admits these are hard times, but he underscores the message that no further burden will be placed on Bahamians. He adds a government will take a cautionary approach to dealing with this issue. The National Insurance Fund stands at around $1.6 billion, but the problem is benefit payouts far outpace contributions.
We'll see how we could be innovative and creative to ensure that we do not do such or embrace such an initiative until we have brought the relief that is necessary to allow that to happen. The Minister of State in my office was just speaking the facts as what was said in the actual report. They are recommending and they are urging that we do so. And as was his duty, he is bringing that report to Cabinet for us to look at it and discuss it.
Well, Makushla, as you are aware, the National Insurance Board Fund has been a safety net for thousands of Bahamians. The Prime Minister maintaining there will be no new rate increases. The nation's chief says Cabinet is reviewing this matter. Live here on Blue Hill Road, National Insurance Headquarters, Blue Hill Road, Desmond Saunders, ZNS News.
The Omicron BA.2 subvariant is in Barbados. Authorities plead with nationals to be responsible and remain on guard as there are no plans to change the protocols.
Health and Wellness Minister Ian Goodin-Edjo made a disclosure as he reported on the results of tests conducted.
Based on the results of samples sent to the Carrefour lab in Trinidad for analysis, I am now confirming that the BA2 subvariant of COVID does exist in Barbados. In fact, 90% of the samples sent to CARFA were found to be positive for this Omicron variant, which is highly contagious, but which does not generally lead to serious illness.
The health minister said that since March 28, the island has recorded 5,104 new infections, and according to the latest data, 428 new cases were recorded on Wednesday, resulting in a record high positivity rate of 28%. Gooden Edgell said there will be no change in protocols, but he urged Barbadians to exercise their caution.
As we head into our long Easter weekend, I once again advise that the tightening of any of the protocols is not being considered. But at the same time, I am sure that Barbadians as a whole will practice restraint, discipline, and moderation with their social activities and interactions over the next few days.
Acting Police Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago, MacDonald Jacob, has sent a warning to criminals following the opening of an operations command center in Barataria on Thursday last. He believes the Northeastern Division now has the required tools to ensure crime and criminality are kept to a minimum. More in this TTT News item with Sunil Lala.
Acting Police Commissioner MacDonald Jacob sounded a warning to criminals on Thursday after launching an operations command center at the Barataria police station. He said the center will assist the police service to monitor CCTV footage in real time and relay information to those on patrol, leading to a faster response time by police.
A few days ago, from a home invasion, with that combination like how we have the operational center, they were able to arrest 4 of the offenders and recover 2 firearms.
He assured that getting the center functional came to no added cost to the taxpayers.
We have taken screens, computers, and other things. Number 1, we had a room at the Riverside Plaza with such screens, which was not being utilized.
And Senior Superintendent of the Northeastern Division, Winston Maharaj, said the launch of the center will further assist police, which has seen strides in fingerprint detection recently.
As recent as last weekend in the Calvary Hill area in the San Juan district, a report of a house breaking and larceny where a finger impression was developed, identified, warrant issued. The person is currently before the court.
Meanwhile, National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines praised the launch, saying it will bring great benefit to assist in the crime fight.
Every cent expended on the activity and the human resources you see in that room, and for those body cams, and for those vehicles that we gave over to the police from VEMCOT today, are cents or dollars and cents well spent.
The Operations Center has access to the Licensing Office database, GPS tracking of police vehicles and body cameras, as well as CCTV camera footage of the division. Sonolala, TTT News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In Jamaica, one public health expert has expressed shock at the authorities' decision to remove the mask mandate on COVID-19 testing. TVJ has more.
The public mask mandate and the requirement for people traveling to Jamaica to get tested for COVID-19 will be lifted on Friday, April 15th. The relaxation of the measures mean people will no longer need to wear a mask while in public places. The new rules also mean that people traveling to Jamaica will no longer need to present a negative COVID-19 test taken at least 3 days prior to visiting the island. But public health expert Dr. Winston Davidson is questioning the government's decision to end the COVID-19 testing requirement for visitors coming to Jamaica.
Thousands of persons will come to Jamaica for vacation. Thousands of persons will, returning residents will come back to Jamaica for not only for vacation but for family visits, etc. And this is where Jamaica finds that we get the infection spreading among the population. The testing is important, screening, to prevent persons who are infected from coming to Jamaica. Now, if you get rid of the testing, how do you prevent those persons who have a positive test coming in? Because you don't know whether they're positive or they're negative.
The St. Lucia Tourism Authority, the SLTA, has released its latest stayover statistics, which show March 2022 as the month with the highest arrivals since the resumption of the activity since the COVID-19 pandemic shutdown. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
St. Lucia has been highlighted as one of the best performing destinations for 2022, marking a strong rebound from the pitfalls of the COVID-19 pandemic. March is the best performing month since the island reopened to the global market. According to the latest stats from the United Nations World Tourism Organization, the island is among the top 5 in world tourism recovery, and the only Eastern Caribbean country to make that list.
Stayover visitors for March 2022 were recorded at 32,110, and that reflects upwards 21% of the forecasted figure. With a total of 80,811 arrivals year to date for the period January to March, marking a strong start for the year. And this echoes the latest report from the UNWTO, which confirmed the Caribbean region as leading the world in the recovery of stayover arrivals. The region's recovery rate sits at 61.5%, comparing 2022 to 2019, and this is almost double the total global rate of 32.9%.
The U.S. accounts for over 56% of total stayover arrivals to date, followed by the United Kingdom and Canada. Visitors from the Caribbean, however, remain low, with figures for the region and the rest of the world accounting for only 7% of overall arrivals.
The UK is the island's second largest market, with 30.3% of stayover arrivals at almost 24,500. And that is the highest share recorded for the UK market even pre-pandemic. The Canadian market continues to show steady growth when compared to the same period for 2020 and 2021. And the first quarter of 2022 reflects 6% of total visitor arrivals to the destination following the COVID-19 pandemic. Marketing, public relations, and sales efforts across Canada will continue to drive demand for the destination as Canadian airlines have extended their flight schedules into the summer. And with the ease of travel restrictions in Canada, several in-person events have been scheduled, including participating in the Outdoor Adventure Show in late April, followed by the North American Roadshow in June.
The Tourism Authority will continue to engage with trade partners as it continues to manage the COVID protocols. St. Lucia recently eased its entry requirements. Fully vaccinated visitors and returning nationals no longer need any pre-entry COVID-19 testing, while the online registration process has been removed for all. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
In his maiden speech to the Guyana House of Assembly as leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton hammered the PPC administration as one that has no interest in democracy, democratic practices, and the rule of law. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana has some details.
Mr. Norton was at the time making his contribution to the government's motion to change a quorum that is needed for a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee to take place. The government eventually used its majority to pass the motion. But before that was done, Mr. Norton reminded the National Assembly that many of the changes that the government has been making in the Assembly are against good governance and the rule of law.
The things they are doing, they are seeking to destroy democracy. Ask the Honorable Member Dharam Lal. You know why he couldn't answer the question? He couldn't answer the question because he doesn't believe in law. And he knows that his practice of not having those internal elections are anti-democratic. And all they do is to serve to give him domination and control, which he should not have.
The opposition leader also argued that government should allow its motions and bills to be examined properly by stakeholders and not rush through the National Assembly without consultation. He said even civil society is being ignored by the government.
We have got to recommit to democracy. We have got to recommit to democracy. Democracy presupposes the involvement of people and being responsive to them. Mr. Speaker, in the Davies report, it is well established that there is a place for civil society.
The opposition believes that by changing the requirements for a quorum for the Public Accounts Committee to meet, the government can now stymie the work of the committee by its members simply staying away from the meeting. Under the previous rule, once 3 members of the PAC were present, regardless of whether they were from government or opposition, those 3 members formed the quorum and allowed the committee's work to move on. With the new rule, 5 members will have to be present, 2 from the government side and 2 from the opposition side, along with the chairman of the PAC. The Public Accounts Committee is the most powerful parliamentary committee and is responsible for scrutinizing all of government's spending.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.